teach you question number 5 of NCERT exercise 1.3. So we will start with this question, and in this we have to find out the product using suitable properties. Friends, if you don't know about the properties of the integers, then before watching this video, go to my properties videos and you will find every properties there, so that you will get to know how to do these kind of questions. So we will do this type of questions by using the suitable properties. We have 4 or 5 properties, that is the closure property, distributive, commutative and associative. So we will use these properties and to solve this question. So let's get start. Here we have to multiply 26 by minus 48, then we have to add these numbers. So first of all we will assume this number just like A, B and C. Suppose I will assume that 26 A and that minus 48 as B, and minus 48 I assume as B, so here I will write like B, and that 36 I will assume as C. So you will see that this equation will become A multiplied by B plus B multiplied by C. And here I have written that A is 26 and B is minus 48 and C is minus 36, which I have just told you right now. So we will use the distributive property here. And if you see what is the distributive property, I will help you to revise this property. It means if you multiply A multiplied by B plus A multiplied by C, if you see that here A is common in this equation and in this. So what we will do in the left hand side, we will put A outside, and in the bracket we have remaining, that is B plus this C. If we take this A outside here just like this, what we have left in this equation, we have left that is B, because A is written outside, and plus, and A is written outside, and C. We have left A multiply B plus C. And if you see that this is just like the distributive property, because here in a B is common in this equation and in this equation. Here B is common. So what we will do in this question to solve this, we will take B outside, and whatever the number will left in the brackets, we will solve those numbers. So we will solve this. I have written down that 26 I have written down the question, and I have written down A multiplied by B plus B multiplied by C. It's just like the distributive property. This given equation is a distributive property, so we will solve like this. We will take if you see that this minus 48 is common in this equation, that is 26 multiplied by minus 48, and in this equation, so we will take this minus 48 as outside. If we will take this minus 48 as outside, so if you see what numbers are left in the equation, that is 26, which I have written in the bracket, that is 26. This plus sign is remain as it is in the next step, and this 48 is outside, so I have left that is minus 36, and I put this minus 36 in a bracket because I have told you so many times that a minus number should always put in a bracket. So in the next step we have to solve this bracket, and how we will solve this bracket, we have to open this 36 number bracket, and if I will do this plus and this minus will become minus in the next step. So I have written down this 48 as it is, and this bracket 26 minus 36. How did I get this minus? Plus minus minus. If you don't know the rules of addition or the subtraction, then you can go to my 7th class video, and in the chapter integers I have told all the rules of the multiplication as well as the addition and subtraction. So here plus minus become minus. Now we will apply the rule of addition and subtraction to solve this bracket. Here one number is positive, that is 26, and that 36 is negative, and if one number is positive and another number is negative. So we have to subtract those numbers with each other. So when I subtract 36 and 26, I will get 10. And the sign of the answer depend upon the greater number. If you subtract 36 by 26, 36 minus 26 is 10, and the sign of this 10 depends upon the greater number, depends upon the sign of the greater number. So if you see that the greater number is here 36 and this 36 is negative, so our answer is in a negative. So I have told you that negative numbers should always in a bracket. So I put this 10 in a bracket. And in my next step, I will multiply this 48 by 10, because bracket means multiplication. If you have any number outside the bracket, it means you have to multiply those numbers with each other. So I have to multiply this 48 by 10, and it's very easy to multiply any number with a 10. You have to put only 0 in the last of that number. So my answer is 480. But here the matter is plus 480 or minus 480. So I will apply the rule of a multiplication here. Here one number is negative, that is 48, and another number is also negative, that is minus 10. And if both number are negative, so the sign of the answer is in a positive. So my answer will be 480, that is plus 480. So here I will do the second part of fifth, and we have to multiply these three numbers with each other. So if you see that we have the four properties, that is the closure property, and in the closure property, if you multiply any two integers, you will get the same integer number. So we will not use closure property in this. And our second property is the commutative property, is that if you multiply any numbers in any order, if you multiply in two integers in any order, you will get the same result. So I will apply the commutative property here to solve my equation. Here I have written down for you, a multiplied by b equals to b multiply a. It means that if you multiply a by b and if you multiply b by a, you will get the same result. So in this equation we cannot use the distributive property. Just like that, in the first part we have used the distributive property. Here we will use the commutative property. Why we have to use this commutative property? Because if you see that this 125 and 8, if you multiply this 8 by 125, you will get the answer end with a 0. And if you will get the answer end with a 0, your calculation will become very easy. In order to get the easy calculation, what we have to do, we have to apply this commutative property. It means I will shift this minus 125 to the B position and this 53 to the C position by while using the commutative property. Because in the commutative property, if you multiply A multiplied by B and B multiplied by A, you will get the same result, because in the multiplication, the order of the integers does not matter. So I will solve like this. I will write that in given equation we will use the commutative property. Why we have used the commutative property? Because we cannot use the closure property here, distributive and associative. Guys, the best way to solve this type of the question is just to make a rough note of all the properties. We have four properties. Just make the rough note of all the four properties while doing this type of question, and just think about all the properties, that which property you can use in these questions. So it will be very useful and easy for you to solve this type of questions. So I will use the commutative property here, because I have used this commutative property because I want to make my calculation easy. So I have just written down this question in this step: 8 multiply 53 multiply minus 125. What I will do in the next step, that I will shift these numbers with each other, that 53 in the last position, in the third position, and this 125 in the second position, so that in my next step I will multiply 8 by minus 125 to get my calculation easy. because they have mentioned that we have to use the property. Otherwise we can, these numbers are these they have given the three numbers, we can multiply any numbers with each other. Why we will use this property? Because they have mentioned. So we are bound to use the properties here. So I have put the bracket in the one in this numbers, that is minus 125 multiplied by 53, and I have put the bigger bracket. Because why I have put this bigger bracket, why I can't put this smaller bracket? Because this 125 is already in the bracket, that's why I have to put this bigger bracket. And in my next step, what I will do, I will multiply this 8 and this 125 with each other. That's why I have put bracket in these two numbers, so that in my next step I will multiply that number, and whatever the answer I will get, I will multiply that answer by 53. And if you see that if you multiply 125 by 8, what answer you will get? You will get the answer 1000. How you will get? I will apply my short tips and tricks to multiply any number. So what I will do, I will multiply 100 by 8, that is 800, and 20 by 8, that is 160, and 5 by 8, that is 40. So here I will get 1000. And if you don't know about the fast calculation tips and tricks, if you don't know about how to increase your speed in multiplying the number, then please watch my table and tricks video, and you will find how to increase your calculation speed. You can go to my channel, and there you will find a very helpful video for you. So if you multiply 125 by 8, you will get the answer 1000. But the sign of this answer will depend upon the rule of a multiplication. And if in this we have to apply the rule of a multiplication, and here 8 is a positive number and 125 is a negative number. And if one number is positive and another is negative, so the sign of the answer is in a negative. So I will write minus 1000 multiply 53. And in the next step, I have to multiply this 1000 by 53. I will get the answer 53,000. But the sign of this 53,000 depend upon the rule of a multiplication again. And here 1000 is a negative number and 53 is a positive number. And I have just told you that if one number is positive and another number is negative, so the sign of the answer is in a negative. And if you don't know about the rules of a multiplication, then please, before watching this video, go to the multiplication rule video. There you will find all the rules of the multiplication with examples. So our answer is minus 53,000. So our third part is 15 multiply minus 25 multiply minus 4 multiply by 10. So if you remember all the properties in your mind, just like first is a closure property, here we cannot use the closure property, and here we cannot use the distributive property, and we cannot use the associative property. So what we will, we have only the option of the commutative property, because in a commutative property we can multiply any numbers in any order. So what we have to do in this, we can multiply two numbers, we can shift these numbers with each other to use the by using the commutative property. So my commutative property is that a multiplied by b equals to b multiply a, that I have told you just now in the last part of this question. So our solution is, what we have to do, we will write like this: in a given equation we will use the commutative property. We have to mention that which property we are going to use in this. So I have just written down this question. So what we will do in the next step, if you see that if we multiply this 25 by 4, we will get the answer 100. And if you will get the answer 100, your calculation will become easy to multiply these numbers. So what I will do in this step, I have put in the bracket these two numbers, that is 25 and 4, so that I can multiply these numbers with each other. So if I multiply 25 by 4, I will get the answer 100, and the sign of the 100 is in a positive because these number is negative, that is 25 is negative and 4 is also negative, and if two numbers are negative, so the sign of the answer is in a positive. So my answer is plus 100. So in my next step, I will multiply this 100 by this minus 10, and if I multiply this 100 by 10, I will get the answer 1000. But the sign of this 1000 depend upon the rule of a multiplication. Here one number is positive, that is 100, and 10 is negative, that is and 10 is a negative number, and if one number is positive and another number is negative, so the sign of the answer is in a negative. So our answer is minus 1000, and if I multiply this 1000 by 15, I will get the answer 15,000, and the sign of this 15,000 depend upon the rule of the multiplication. We have to apply the rule of the multiplication here. One number is positive, that is 15, and this 1000 is negative, and if one number is positive and another is negative, so the sign of the answer is in a negative. So my answer is minus 15,000. So this question is solved. Now we will do the fourth part, that is minus 41 and 102. So in this question we have to think about all the properties, that is closure, associative, distributive and commutative. So I have to make this number just can you see, if can I write 102 like this, 100 plus 2, can I write this like, can I write like this? Because if you solve this bracket, you will get the answer same 102. So I will write 102 like this, 100 plus 2, because I want to make the number just like so that this number can match with some properties. So so that I will use the properties and to solve this question, because we are bound to use the properties here, because otherwise it's very simple. We can multiply these numbers with each other and we will get the answer, but they are saying that we have to use the properties. So we are bound, hardly bound by these properties. So we have to make just like this, because in a distributive property it is a multiplied by b plus a multiplied by c. So what I will do in this question, just like in a given equation, we will use the distributive property. Why we have to use the distributive property? Because I have made just like the distributive property, because all the properties we cannot use in this question. So there is only a distributive property we can use in this question. And if you see that I have written 102 just like this, 100 plus 2 in a bracket. So now you can see that it is just like the distributive property now, that is a multiply b plus c. Now we will solve like this, a multiply by b plus a multiply by c. What I will do, what we have to do in this, that we have to multiply this 41 by 100, then we have to put the sign of the plus sign, then we have to multiply this 41 by 2, just like the right hand side of this distributive property. So what I will do in this step, that I have put these numbers in a bracket, that is 41 multiplied by 100 and plus 41 multiplied by 2. I have to solve these brackets, and in the next step I have to multiply this 41 by 100 and I will get the answer minus 4100. How I got this answer? Because I have to apply the rule of the multiplication, because here 41 is a negative number and 100 is a positive, and if one number is negative and another number is positive, so the sign of the answer is in a negative. So my answer is minus 4100 to after solving this bracket. Now I will solve this bracket. If I multiply 41 by 2, I will get the answer 82, and the sign of this 82 depends upon the rule of the multiplication, and 2 is a positive number and 41 is a negative number, so the sign of the answer is in a negative, that is minus 82. So I have put in the bracket, because in the next step I have to solve this this plus and this minus will become minus in my next step. So my next step is minus 4100 minus 82. Now I have to apply the rule of addition and a subtraction here. Here both the numbers are negative, and if both numbers are negative, we have to add those numbers, and the sign of the answer depend upon the sign of the greater number. So I have to add 4100 and 82 with each other. So I will get the answer 4182. But minus 4182 because there 4100 is a greater number and it is a negative number. So my answer is minus 4182. So this video is completed, and the next video we will do the remaining parts of this question, and that is E, F and G. So we will do in the next video. And if you like this video, then please hit the like button and subscribe my channel and share these video with your friends. So we will meet in the next video with some other questions of this exercise.